Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Token Games Podcast. I'm your host and sometimes referee, Zach Stad Pearson. And today, I'm joined by the star of the movie in the sky, the one man who has seen them all in theaters, the newest of the comers to the podcast, a one Tristan of House TJM.
What's up, man? It's good to be here. I'm really excited. I'm glad you introduced me as a movie guy because I have my New Year's resolution. Everybody picks like, oh, I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna get healthy. And I said, oh, I'm gonna see every movie that comes out in 2020 in theaters. So I've been keeping it up. It's almost March now, and I've seen everything. So I'm trying to stay strong.
Jesus Christ, man. I really hope you don't Kevin Smith out on me one day. Also, not saying that as a joke, I actually love Kevin Smith's body of work. Yes, I realize the pun I just made. But, yo, I mean, I don't know if you plan to be a director or not, but, hey, if there ever was someone who could be hired to be a critic or a reviewer, it's you. And trust me, I know, since I almost got you into it. But, you know, we'll talk about that another time, because that fucking dude is still around, apparently. All right, let's get into the topics. Oh, and in case people are wondering, yes, there will be more people featured in this week's podcast. However, this is an early recording. Bet you didn't notice that. Sometimes when we record the podcast, we're actually recording different people on different days or at different times of the day because everyone's on a different schedule. Some of us aren't even in the same state/country. The internet works in mysterious ways. All right, topic one. Sorry, slight microphone issue, which I will probably edit out later. Topic one, coronavirus chaos. Recently, on multiple occasions, Sony has stated the coronavirus as a primary reasoning for avoiding certain events within the gaming community. The most common rumor as to why this is a constant occurrence are along the lines of they don't want to reveal until they can reveal the price of the PlayStation 5. Currently, they're supposedly waiting until Microsoft shows off their price for the Xbox to try and pull out an early lead by undercutting them. Another rumor is due to the fact that the SSD, solid state drive, in case you guys are wondering, within the PlayStation 5 being a rare commodity and also being sought after by the PC. Don't really know who follows that PC Master Race BS, but it is a very common occurrence when it comes to certain types of RAM or hard drives that the market will actually inflate the price or they will become harder to find because different companies are competing with actual regular consumers for the same form of media. And this in the PC world, or at least in the storage wars, not the show, and no pun intended, solid state drives and RAM are usually, it's very common for them to randomly inflate, as well as graphic cards. Leading to a shortage, so they want to wait on when they reveal and also reveal pre-orders because they don't even know how many they can currently make at the time. Again, rumor. Now, the final rumor / reasoning being cited by the PlayStation brand is the fear of potentially being liable for an outbreak versus being scared of their employees catching the virus, which is what they claimed. Now, do you guys think any of this is true or something else is at play? Topic two. No. I'll read all the topics and then you answer them in order.
All right.
Topic two. How long is too long for a development cycle? Games are engineered to have a set date based on what publishers may decide versus the company that made it or the parent company. Yeah, there's a lot of factors when it comes to releasing a commercial game when you're not independent. We all know that can lead to extremely high levels of stress for the people working on the game, as well as constant quitting and firing among staff. But in your mind, for a traditional video game, not something that necessarily needs to have hundreds of millions of dollars invested into it, at what point in time do you think there should be a cutoff point to prepare for a release? As in, where do you think the cutout point bare minimum should be before you decide to physically mass produce and publish this title? 2 years, 3 years, or something else? Topic 3. Can a fighting game ever truly be fair? In the world of video games, characters inherently have advantages and disadvantages based on what type of game you are in. However, in the world of fighting, the character you can pick can have an inherent advantage or disadvantage based on who your opponent picks. Constant changing and balancing and reworking of details on characters is an all too common occurrence in the world of fighting games. However, it is possible to find an exact balance on fighting games when it comes to how the characters function, or are we just doomed to continuously need to be meticulous and constantly altering of characters after the initial release? And lastly, topic 4, one council to rule them all. In the past 2 decades, games that are exclusive to one particular game console have become few and far between. Have become few and far between. That means that the library on average for a video game system between Sony and Microsoft, for example, can have a similarity above or constantly above 50%. Given the fact that if one were to buy all the consoles when they first came out, you spent close to $1,000 after taxes are factored in. Is there even a true Is there even a true reason to go and get a second or third console when the level of exclusives are usually not guaranteed to even be of interest to the consumer? Okay, now you can answer topic 1 through 4 and make sure you're recording them.
So for the first topic here on coronavirus, I definitely I'm conflicted. You mentioned earlier how some of us are from other parts of the country, and I'm from Costa Mesa, California, which is right next to the one person in California, the people who've gotten the coronavirus. So they're being treated not very far away from me, and they're opening up a coronavirus treatment center in my city, and it's a big kind of like political moment right now around the coronavirus. So it's kind of interesting to see this coming up like in gaming culture too, because I think Sony is definitely taking advantage of the situation. I think they're definitely being serious. I think they take this disease seriously, especially being centered in Japan. I think they're more close to where it's a bigger deal. So I kind of buy them when they're saying they're kind of afraid about their employees getting sick, or they're kind of afraid about bringing the disease into their companies, into their publishers, their game developing company headquarters. Anyone could catch it and bring it over to this. Like, it could spread very fast when kind of like this. So I kind of buy Sony, but I also think that they're using this to their advantage. I think that they're not quite ready to reveal the PS5 with it yet. So I think they've been putting it off, and they see this as an excuse to sort of be like, oh, yeah, it's for the virus. But I think they're also trying to hold off and wait for Microsoft to see what Microsoft's going to do. I think both of them are kind of at this stalemate right now, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with this.
Okay. You can go to the rest of the topics whenever you're ready.
It's hard with development cycles because it's easy to keep up with the game. It's kind of fun to be like, oh, year to year, what's going on? Keeping up with like the Final Fantasy VII remake was how many years now have you been waiting for that? How
many damn years. That's how many.
It feels like it, man. It feels like I've been waiting for decades for that game.
You have. It's almost been a 20-year wait. That's the fucked up part.
Yeah, it's brutal, and I feel like you get to the point where it's like, how long do I really want to wait for this game, Like, I don't know, what's the alternative of them giving up and not even making it? I feel like I'd rather them take forever to make a good game than just give up because it's taking too long. I'm kind of a fan of the idea that like a cycle can go on forever, as long as they're working on it, as long as they're showing it off and saying, yeah, we're actually working on it. And some developers definitely announce games and kind of just leave them forever, but I think if they're able to show up at E3 every year and be like, here's our progress, I think that's a good sign. I think it depends on the game, if they're actually doing it like that and showing it off and saying, we're trying. Like with Final Fantasy VII, they've been showing off demos and they've been showing off gameplays all the time and showing like we were trying.
I just like how the only people getting rewarded in the whole Final Fantasy VII demo debacle are fucking hackers. You know how fucking depressing that is? The only people benefiting from the demo are hackers. That's messed up.
I've avoided watching it. I've been wanting to watch it. I know they have leaks on Twitch and on YouTube and stuff, but I'm kind of just want to wait and play the game, I guess.
No, you're fine. The demo isn't the problem. The problem is the demo was a red herring. The demo is actually it has more than 80% of the game's assets built into it. So it wasn't the demo that was the problem. It was everything else in the demo. The entire transcript for more than 90% of the game is in that fucking demo. The demo file that they have. So watching and playing the demo, nothing changed ever since they shown it off a long time ago. All it is just the bombing mission, the opening mission. So there's no spoilers in it.
God, I can't believe they leaked all that stuff out.
Over 60 gigs of information.
That's kind of the sign you gotta finish your game. People are that desperate, they're just ready to hack you to get any level of information.
I'm just saying, if I had to put my lips on something I would never want to touch to get that game to come out, I would do it. And I'm going to leave it at that.
We're only like a month away. You can wait that long?
No, I cannot. I had my entire birthday planned around this shit initially. My balls and my soul are angry. I was born on a very unusually unique day for Square Enix or Squaresoft history. I was born in March, first off, because they have made a lot of epic shit and some garbage in March. But more specifically, March 9th. Final Fantasy games have come out on my birthday before, and a lot of the good ones even come out in my birthday month. And the fact that this one was coming before my birthday, the actual date, dude, I was going to get, and I had to cancel it, I was going to be in like some overly stupid, lavish Airbnb, and me and my friends was going to bring their copies with a bunch of TVs, and we was basically just going to have a Final Fantasy VII party. We may have even streamed the game or just streamed the party or both. And then they went and fucked that all up.
Yeah, it's classic Square. Always trying to fuck something up about fantasy.
Oh, hey guys, come look at this Final Fantasy game that we've been making and we know you want. You know, let me just give you a little bit of the honey, but not the whole pot. Oh, did I give you a little bit of the honey? Oh, that's good though. Okay, you want another hit? Okay, come back in 10 years, bitch. That's how I feel. That's what it feels like. Kingdom Hearts. I laugh at the Kingdom Hearts 3 fans like, you waited for this game a long time. Like, you ain't waited for shit till you waited for Final Fantasy VII. However, I will give the Duke Nukem folks the credit that they are due. Nobody has waited longer than them. Nobody.
Yeah, as a Kingdom Hearts fan, I've definitely been tortured by wait times, and to have Kingdom Hearts 3 come out and then kind of let me down, I was like, God, it definitely changed your perspective on these kind of questions where it's like, at what point is it just not worth it? It's never going to live up to what you've been waiting for.
Exactly. I knew the minute I saw the first trailer of Kingdom Hearts 3, the actual gameplay footage, not like the old shit where here's a piece of a technique that we've invented. No, I mean story and gameplay footage. I'm like, I'm not going to pay for this game because it's going to come out incomplete and it's going to come out with a lot of error cutscenes and logic holes, and they're not going to explain half of them, and they're going to try to say that they're hyping up a mystery when really it just doesn't make sense. And here's the hilarious part. I was right every time. As early as the Hercules area, they have cutscenes that don't make any sense. Then the writing, always convoluted. I don't know, at this point, I don't think there's anybody left who defends the writing of Kingdom Hearts, unless, you know, they're lying to themselves. But I knew something was extremely different. Because the first thing people told me is, oh, there's absolutely no Final Fantasy characters in this game at all. I was like, well, no, I'm really not buying it. That was the whole fucking selling point of the game originally. Literally, the selling point was crossing of Disney and Final Fantasy. Now there's no crossing? Over? Okay, well, over and I'm out. It was literally like they didn't think they were important. Then I found out, bro, every single person who ever wrote a Kingdom Hearts game, except for one, didn't work on this story. Did you know that?
I had no idea. That definitely shows if the story just falls apart. It doesn't really make any sense. The
Tetsuya
characters don't
Nomura
really make
wrote
any
this whole
sense.
entire story by himself because apparently at some point in time he decided that he was talented like that. I don't know where the fuck this shit comes from, but this is one of those things that, sorry to get off topic, or not really, this is one of those things I've been saying is a big problem with Japanese gaming industry, specifically the upper echelon. There's this belief that they can somehow write a coherent story that has no flaws or makes perfect logical sense or doesn't have an issue. Motherfucker, proofread and get a script supervisor. A script supervisor's job is specifically to point out shit like this so you can fix it. This is the man who tries to brag about, oh, I'm always working on 10 games at once. First off, that's not something to brag about. That says that you have a messed up personal life, or rather social life. Third of all, I don't know if you have a significant other. In fact, last I heard, no one, his martial status has been single for over 20 years. But something tells me just offhand, bro, you are not fit to be writing by yourself, let alone a story that's connected to 8 other stories in 8 other games. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate that man, but I don't think he's aware, because everyone hypes him up so much like Hideo Kojima, where his faults and weaknesses are. You can improve on a weakness if you know it's a weakness. But if you just get sensitive and shit and you think everyone's out to hurt you, then you're not improving on it. You're just going to dig yourself in a deeper hole. I told him to his face, because apparently he understands some English, E3 2018. Hey, I told him, because we took a picture together. Hey, listen, don't let anybody make you feel bad or sad about Kingdom Hearts 3 taking a long time. If you need this game to be good, then take the time to let the game be good. He said, okay, and thank you, walked off. And I feel not backstabbed, but betrayed. But at the same time, I saw the train wreck coming. So I didn't spend money on it. And even though I've seen the Remind DLC, I still feel fortunate, because the only thing the Remind DLC did was acknowledge there were so many plot holes or issues that shit needed to be addressed. But at the same time, he didn't really want to put the effort into it like a lot of people thought. In fact, he specifically mentioned after Remind came out, oh, I'm already on to the next game. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah, I can't get behind having to buy a DLC just to be able to finish the story. Like,
yeah, in an RPG, in a fucking RPG, bitch. The story is the reason why I bought it.
Yeah, I feel like the fact that they made a DLC where you actually get to see the ending that you should have had, like, nah.
My favorite part is that without even asking too much, and when people who bought the game, they talk about Remind Us, the first thing they tell me is, oh yeah, Kyrie's not worthless. I was like, Kyrie's not worthless? So wait. For Kyrie to finally do something besides get kidnapped, you have to literally pay close to $100 for it. She's been in half the games, not playable, mind you, but she's been in half the games, mentioned in all of them except for 2, and you're telling me in order to play her, which is like, what, you only play her twice, the whole thing twice, fucking, you have to pay for a DLC. Yeah, you get to play all the Keyblade users. You mean like you should have been able to do in the initial game? Now, and I was like, okay, so we can get this Remind DLC. Listen, do you actually gain the ability to fucking go and play these other characters like throughout the whole story mode or in a special mode by themselves? Oh no, just certain boss fights and okay. So the selling point for this whole entire DLC is now worthless to me. So now the game already had a low value, but the DLC is practically fucking worthless. And I'm just sitting up here like, I feel bad for the fanboys who died for this game, because they're going to die on that hill. They're going to die on that hill. They're going to say this isn't a bad idea. This wasn't a bad game. This game is okay. Even if they don't say it's perfect, they won't acknowledge faults. But just from someone who's literally beat every other Kingdom Hearts game except for one other one, which was that weird DS game that they did. Not the 358 over 2 days, but the other one. I think it was called Recoded or something. As someone who beat every other game but that one, let me tell you, Kingdom Hearts 3 is a hard pass. You can skip it and you won't feel bad about it. But yeah, tangent over.
Yeah, definitely not endorsing Kingdom Hearts 3, either one of us. Anyway, for topic 3, we're here talking about the fighting games. Unfortunately, I'm not a huge fighting game person. I've never been very good at them. I've never had the drive to really devote time to getting great at them. I've always felt that it was so hard because everybody else was so trained and so much better, and I think a lot of it is like this. They know what characters to pick. They know what moves to use at exact right times, and that's something that's so hard to learn without having someone there stand you and tell you what to do when. So I think something like with balance is something that happens in a lot of games, but I think something in fighting games particularly because it's so focused on how each character plays against the other character, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that comes with time too. A lot of that comes as the players play. A lot of that comes as people adapt to different movesets and different changes. So I think the best fighting games are the ones that are going to keep themselves updated constantly. You're never going to have a perfect balance that never leans in one direction or the other because players are always going to find ways to find some imbalance to break into, find something to abuse, find some little slightly overpowered move that has to get changed. And I think the sign of a good developer is one that can keep the game active and alive. Like you said, when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out and they had given up the DLC and they were already like, oh, we're on the next game already. We're not really thinking about that Kingdom Hearts 3 game anymore. And I think the sign of a game like this that wants longevity is that they're going to have to keep updating it. They're going to have to keep their eye on the pulse of the players and who's doing what and who's using what moves. And I don't think a balance is ever going to be perfect.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, fair enough.
Topic 4, for the consoles. I'm a big console gamer. I've never been a huge PC gamer. I kind of do it here and there. I have a good computer that I use mostly for editing, but I do game on there sometimes.
Dude, me too. Totally. People get mad at me for not having a billion games. I'm like, dude, this is a work machine.
Yeah, I mean, it can run games. I have one or two on that I play once in a while, but it's a working computer. You know, I edit on there all the time, and I can't be filling it up with Fortnite and shit.
Damn. He went straight for the jugular.
This is the first generation that I've had every console to. I bought the Switch, and I had the PS4 and the Xbox One. I actually have two Xbox Ones. My first one took a shit, and I had to buy a new one, classic Xbox. But I've had a great time having all three. It's been kind of cool just to watch the cultures grow and watch the features grow. This next generation is going to be interesting, I think, because it's going to be less focused on the games. Like, there's no exclusives like we're talking about, and I think they've said that there's not going to be a lot of exclusives between generations either, at least at first. Like, I know Microsoft is planning on releasing a lot of their games on Xbox One and this new Xbox Series X at the same time, and you're just going to have the better one on one or the other. And I think that's an exciting way for games to go, but I think it's going to inspire developers to focus more on features and more on services. Like, what can make Xbox stand out as a unique service platform that Sony can't really have? You know, how are they going to use Game Pass? How are they going to use game streaming? I know Microsoft is very, very much into game streaming, and Sony's very, very much into VR, and they're both kind of picking their lane on those two ideas, and we're going to see which one pays off the most. And I think those two divides are going to be ultimately what lets people pick on each one. Like, Microsoft's not going to have a VR support, so if you want VR games, you got to go with Sony, and Microsoft's going to have the big game streaming support, so if you're a big game streaming guy, you're going to want to get that Xbox too. So I think I'm going to end up, unfortunately, dropping close to $1,000, just like this topic brings up, and then caving on both of them.
Count so plebeian. Just kidding. I'm not a PC motherfucker. I really hate hearing PC master race. I'm like, oh, PC masters. Okay, who the fuck is your slave in that situation exactly? And then they just look around like, they didn't realize what they said. Like, motherfucker, you say it all the damn time. But, that's another story.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy PC gaming. I know it has its culture, and I know for like the fact that it's a superior graphically way to play. But in the end, I'm not that invested in the high quality graphics. Like I don't really care if I know it looks better on my computer than my PS4. I'm still gonna have more fun sitting there on my couch in my underwear with my PS4 controller. Not.
I mean, I can't tell you how to live your life. I wouldn't, be in your drawers and on the couch though. Contrary to popular belief, it's easy to get an infection that way. So I would put on another layer or make sure you Lysol the couch every time you get off it.
I'll grab a robe next time.
Yeah, just an ounce of extra protection. Okay, so I guess it's my turn. All right, well, I'm not gonna lie. I am genuinely torn when it comes to topic one because I've actually been having this conversation, debate. I won't say argument because argument implies that it's not really a winner or loser. It's more like just motherfuckers yelling. But I've been having this debate and conflict with a couple different entities online and off. And, we keep it civil, or at least, for the most part, or civil as something like life and death can be. But Pretty Good Gaming was one of the main people who started it off. And then other people noticed and texted me or caught me on Facebook or came to me in person. It's like, okay, so what's your take on the virus situation? Because, well, the long and short of it was because that shit basically turned into two different essays from two different people at this point. But Pretty Good Gaming's take on it was the mayor of Boston, Massachusetts was being insensitive and, willfully ignorant because, he's hurting for business or something along those lines. I just want to point out, I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the video directly in front of me. Also, that one video is like 12 minutes long and I haven't watched it today. I watched it yesterday or either I watched it way, way early in the morning. So I'm not going to sit up here and say that this is their exact words, but it basically came out to something along the lines of they think the mayor is being insensitive and willfully ignorant because he sent a letter to Sony urging them not to do that because they would further exacerbate and elongate the stigma and whatnot and blah, 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 blah. And I basically took the opposite side. I was with the mayor, even though I would have preferred that letter not have been a public letter. But I was with the mayor in regards to, I don't think you realize you're doing more harm to the image of people who have nothing to do with the virus than good. Also, of all the big events, almost none of them have been canceled that involve the gaming entertainment. Not gaming industry necessarily, but gaming entertainment conventions. Almost, and basically none of them have been canceled. So for Sony to do something like this, it can put thoughts in the wrong people's heads. And by wrong people, I mean racist. Because if you're racist, you're a person and you are in fact wrong. No matter how you think you feel, no matter how smart you think you are. Remember, kids, if you're racist, you're a fucking idiot.
I agree with that one.
Yeah, so I don't think Sony intended or even knew that the type of backlash or stigma they was exacerbating was going to happen. Remember, this is a Japanese company, and even though that country technically is not isolated, let me tell you, mentally speaking, a lot of the older people who run that country or just business, they are. They want to do whatever they think is going to get them more attention and more money, and they don't want to give a shit about standards and nothing like that across the seas unless they lose money off of it, instead of just because it's the morally right thing to do. But also, this is life and death. So I also understand and can play devil's advocate for both sides. But for me personally, I think the reason they skipped out was because they want to try and pull a dick move on Xbox, and they want to wait for Xbox to announce their price. But also remember, the SSD shortage issue is a real problem for Sony and PC people. So I think that it's a perfect shitstorm of issues and drama, so they have the perfect excuse. I think they're using everything else around them to push off revealing the price because they know Xbox can turn around and do the same thing to them, undercut them, even though their system is worth more, literally sell it at a loss or sell it with a low level of value. The problem is that this is a company, not a person. So we don't know what's in their souls and their hearts and stuff like that. So in all honesty, the mayor is right on some levels, and so is Sony. They're both right and they're both wrong. However, I lean towards the mayor, which is where that little dispute with Pretty Good Gaming came from. And if people are wondering, yes, me as a person, Zax, I'm the one who typed that stuff for Pretty Good Gaming. That wasn't, other people. Most of the people, they already know. You don't comment or look onto the channel to do things unless it's relating to Phantasy Star. If it's my personal stuff or if you want to do some personal shit, don't use me for that. Don't feed no trolls with my attention, basically. So yeah, they're both right and they're both wrong. Sorry I gave a neutral answer, but hey, I gave an honest answer. Now for topic 2, I'm gonna just flat out and say it. 3 years I feel like it's too long. The only exceptions are MMOs. Because MMOs are inherently extremely time consuming and you can do everything right, have the best laid plans, and one thing can happen behind the scenes and the game never even makes it out. That's just how it is. That is just how.
So you're saying you would cut them off entirely after 3 years, just be like, all right, development over?
No. I would tell them, if you think you can't get this shit done in 3 years, make something you think you can get done in 3 years. However, if there are emergency situations like, the developer had a heart attack or a family trauma or extreme illness halfway through production, I have no problem with extensions. Because see, I have to look at this from multiple angles. A good game versus a good game costing too much for the company to recoup its losses potentially. That's the thing that a lot of us as on the outside don't want to acknowledge or think about. If this game comes out and it's rushed out, how many people are going to quit that company once it's done because they were stressed the fuck out the whole entire time they was developing longer than they were promised to be developing for? Or the company owner, hey, how long can I put this off before the company possibly has to file for bankruptcy? Things happen for a reason. Sometimes the reasoning isn't completely selfish and it fucks up other people. And sometimes other people don't realize if they all rised up and walked away and unionized, half the problems they have wouldn't even exist.
Yeah, definitely know for movies, there's always a point where they want to cut it off and be like, all right, just put out something, like edit it together somehow, do a couple of reshoots and get something out there, because we're just pouring money into this at this point. We just got to get it out there to try and recoup some level of loss.
And that's how Star Wars got fucked.
What a shit show.
Let me just say how sad that is, that as someone who's never seen a Star Wars movie, you can curse me out later, shut up. Even I know how badly they're fucking up. Even I know how badly they're... I was also like, oh shit, the next generation of Star Wars is here. We finally getting movies that are up to date, don't have a lot of bullshit issues and shit like that. And fucking... Well, let me try to look into this. Oh shit, there's black people now. More than one. Don't get me wrong, that's not a deal breaker for me. A good movie is a good movie. I don't need to see my skin tone for a movie to be good. I wish fucking Hollywood would learn that shit. But then when I started seeing Solo, first Star Wars movie to not make profit in the history of Star Wars, like, yep, pass. Then it was, what was the other one with that girl? Fuck, I forgot what that was. Rogue One. Oh, almost half the stuff in the trailer didn't happen in the movie. I was like, the fuck? How does that happen? That sounds very disorganized for a movie production. Your commercially available trailer that you can easily stop broadcasting and switch and edit with a different one, you kept, even though the scenes half don't match up. Okay, well, that one might be a loss of time. Pass. However, not gonna lie, I heard it did better than Solo. And then there's the J.J. Abrams stuff. Or J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy molesting everything that any other person who could have fixed it did. Yeah, I'm going to just not fuck with that train wreck. Of course, I hear the cries of the fans going, well, you should at least watch the first one. Well, see, here's the problem with that. You can't just get one hit of cocaine. The dealer doesn't get you.
You gotta watch them all,
The
man.
dealer doesn't get you with one hit of cocaine. He makes you get a little bit of whiff and then gives you the price tag. I feel like I would be one of those people who was dumb enough to suffer through episode 8 and 9, or what is it, 9 and 10? I don't know. No, 7, 8, 9. Okay, episode 8 and 9. If I watch 7, because I would think, wow, that was pretty decent. These other two can't possibly be that bad. And then I fuck myself. But I ain't about that life, bro. Also, another reason before you get all emo about it, that me not seeing them shits. Everyone tells me the best fights happen in the cartoon shows and the live action shows. I watch the cartoon shows and live action shows. Number one, 90% of the characters I like don't end up or have not been in a movie. Number two, almost all the best fights or the fights that were longer than 30 seconds and have actual technique and skill and effort and time put into them, choreographically and cinematographically, not sure if that's a word. Also, not in the movies, in the cartoons and the live actions. Third thing, and most important thing of all, which ones have the best writing? Cartoons and the live actions. So basically, all incentive to see a cinematic movie for me got killed. I'll watch The Mandalorian any day of the week before I will watch a Star Wars movie. I can feel your rage from here. Your salt is on a whole new level. However, you must remember one important thing. Fuck no. Whenever you're thinking about me watching a live action Star Wars movie, fuck no. Whenever you're thinking about me at least looking at the trailer for episode 9, fuck no. You heard Rogue Squadron was still the shit. That's right. But you know what? Fuck no. Don't hate Star Wars, but I'm not going to suffer through that because I don't want to be turned into a fan just to get my shit kicked in. I already go through that with Sonic the Hedgehog, okay? I don't need more of that in my life. You know about the Sonic cycle. I know you know about it.
Yeah, Star Wars has definitely been like a center of my life fandom-wise for a very long time, so I can't relate. I've seen those movies all probably like 20 times each. I've seen them over and over and over and over again.
Jesus fucking Christ. So yeah, 3-year cycle for me. And if it takes longer, or if you think you can't meet it, I might give you an extension. Or remember, I want to decide this before we even give you money to get started. Hey, go work on something the fuck else. Make a side story. Use assets from the side story so that way you can shorten the time frame. There's ways to do this stuff. Topic 3 though. All right, I actually do play fighting games. I don't have a problem with ranking up in a fighting game if I like it, or rather the netcode isn't hot booty garbage. I'm not going to point out any games in particular, but let's just say depending on what country the game came from, when it comes to fighting games, the netcode likes to be a rebellious, stereotypical rich white teenager. So take that how you will. Not saying that other ethnicities, teenagers can't be rich and stereotypically and offensive, but you know, we're referring to the ones that end up on Maury and Sweet 16. So specifically those shows. Because even though there are some good, noble, and peaceful, rich, stereotypical Caucasian women out there who are going to grow up to be fine young women, there's still too many Kardashians. Not sure if they count as white, but they count as evil in my book, so I'll just go with evil instead of white. Contrary to a racist belief, those are not inherently the same thing. Racism is stupid, kids. Now, I get the technology. I can understand terminology fairly easily. I can even understand issues people will have with a character, not based on their character's inability to fuck with them, but the game's inability to have proper balancing for something that is considered extremely overpowered or hard to get around for the majority of the cast of the game. However, it's not realistic to expect a fighting game to be updated all the time, in real time, period, forever. There have to be cutoffs. There have to be reasonings. Because at what point does it start being a diminishing return? Because that's the thing people don't realize. Fighting games work on a diminishing return system in the modern era of video games. Back in the day, you made a game, and if you're lucky, or there was an extreme error that made people not want to buy your game, you re-released it and you added a new character. And you did some changes to how the characters played. Now, you can do that, a change to a character overnight or within 24 hours after reporting it to your bug team or your coding team who made the original game. And you can add new characters and you can make them pay for outfits. It's basically, fighting games are inherently becoming their own ecosystem. They're basically MMOs that aren't free. If you stop and think about the mechanics, they're getting similar to MMOs. However, diminishing return. If people don't keep buying new stuff, if people don't like buying cosmetics, you're not going to be incentivized to keep patching the game. So there has to be this yin-yang type balance situation going on. The problem is that almost nobody will ever be able to truly get that balance.
Do you think there would ever be a fighting game that's like a subscription model almost? Like you pay like a $5 a month and you get into the Mortal Kombat, and then they can use that money to keep updating the game and keep updating characters?
No, and I'm going to tell you why. Because at that point it becomes an MMO. See, the closest you can get to that is the Game Pass situation. But here's the thing about the Game Pass situation, where you get to stream or temporary access to the entire library or most of the library for an Xbox. Here's the thing about that. That money from the game you're playing, while you're playing it, that doesn't go to the developers. In fact, we don't even know how developers get money off of a Game Pass purchase. Because all they do is pay a monthly fee to access the game, kind of like Netflix. In fact, I'm probably going to look into that at a later date or Google it later, because I don't genuinely understand how developers get money off of Game Pass. Retailers don't. It feels like it's entirely just Microsoft doing that.
I think developers get money through Microsoft. I think they contract them and pay licensing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know, but you know, I'm very curious about it. Basically, I think we're doomed to continuously need to make meticulous, constant alterations, or alternatively, release a new game if your old game was successful. Because diminishing returns are probably a major factor in if a game gets changed or not. But also, remember, if it's successful, a lot of these companies want to turn their shit into an ecosystem. I think Capcom said in an interview, or someone at Capcom mentioned, that the upper management wants every release of Street Fighter to be looked at as an ecosystem per cycle. Not the exact words, mind you. So that means that Street Fighter 4, it's there until the PS4 comes out. Street Fighter 5, it's there until the PS5 comes out. You know, shit like that. That is doable, but only if they keep making DLC sales. And so far, their primary sales have been bullshit transactions. Yes, you can win the outfits, but obviously you're not going to win them all, or you're not going to want to pay for them all, especially if it's a character you don't use. And the outfits are heavily construed based on what character the players buy the most shit for. So they've automatically catered to a demographic when they shouldn't have, and it should be balanced. If memory serves, Chun-Li has almost twice as many outfits as everyone else, or either Chun-Li and Cammy both have twice as many outfits. Don't quote me on that though. However, you know, it's not a bad model. I'm not demonizing it. The problem though is that where are they going to invest their time, and how much money are they losing? Because let's say they make $4,000 a week off of getting those outfits, selling those outfits. But the net code is garbage. So less people buy the game, or less people play the game. Less people play the game and already got it. That 4,000 starts shrinking. You know? Also, what if they're feeding the money from the cosmetics into the team to patch the game up? Let's say funding that team for a week costs $3,000. So now you're really only making $1,000 per week extra off of that sale. So you do heavy discounts on the game on PC markets or at random places to get more people getting the game cheaper. Because if they get the game cheaper, they'll buy a cosmetic. Because I don't know the exact correlation, but I think it's like when it comes to a game that's considered good or received well by its consumer, the odds of getting a DLC purchase, I think they said and this is like 2012 I'm trying to pull from, they were getting close to 60%. That being said, that's also dependent on the natural price of the game at the time of purchase. So if the game was like $5 or $10 or $20, their ratio and odds of getting a DLC purchase is higher than something like, you know, a full retail $60 to $70 purchase. But again, old information is old. But I don't think there'll ever be a time when it can be perfect or finished. They just have to decide to cut their losses and move on when they can. Or if a developer says, hey, I got enough new ideas to where we can make a new version of this game and do a sequel and try to gauge the worth of it. That's how I feel. So take that answer how you will. As far as topic 4, I say no. And I'm going to tell you why. You figure out what you like as a video gamer by the time you're 12. And unfortunately, a lot of people's tastes don't get locked in that early by the time they hit 12. It's weird. It really is. And that's not just like for gaming. That's actually, it's not even pertaining to gaming. That's human nature. The foods you like the most to eat by the time you're 12 have a high probability of still being the foods you like to eat when you're 50. Did you know that?
I did not. It makes sense. I eat so much mac and cheese.
But see, now you know. The hamburger isn't popular because it tastes good in America. It's popular because we were fed it a lot when we were little. So now we just naturally, instinctually want it. Think about it. How bland is a hamburger until you season it and put other shit on it? Why are you eating something that you have to season all the time to get flavor out of when you could eat something with flavor? Because your brain and your heart have a sentimental, if not psychological, connection to the hamburger. That's right. We fuck minds on this podcast sometimes too.
Remember berry hamburgers.
I don't know why, but I suddenly want a macaroni and cheese hamburger, if that's even possible to be made now. Does anybody make a macaroni and cheese hamburger? I am totally going to look that up later. Do. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But the question is, are they in Illinois?
There's a place by me that sells spaghetti grilled cheeses. That's the highlight of my dining experience.
Dude, I've seen macaroni and cheese pizzas. You would probably die of diabetes if I gave you a macaroni and cheese pizza.
Yeah, if I ever eat macaroni and cheese pizza, it's because I've like given up my life.
Yeah, there's legit about 4 or 5 different places in Illinois. Surprise, I'm from Illinois and Chicago, like I was ever hiding it. That sell macaroni and cheese pizza. But one of them in particular does it in such a unique way that you know it's gonna clog your fucking arteries. Because it tastes too good to not to be healthy. That's the best way to describe it. It tastes so good, there's no way it's healthy. But yeah, on to topic 4. I'm going to just say that no. And because if you're adventurous and you're curious about trying out a new style of gaming format, or you don't have that preconceived notion of a good game for me has to be this way, we have indie titles now. Indie titles are making it rain. And I don't mean money. I mean just they are always coming out. They're always different or unique. And even if they're similar, there's always something in them that'll be more well developed. Dead Cells is basically one giant Mega Man X game put into an RPG format. Why do people keep getting into it? The collectionism part of your brain as a gamer or just a human. Humans have an inherent nature that sometimes makes them want to collect something that they like. Doesn't matter if it's Pokemon cards. Doesn't matter if it's bottle caps. You should go see a doctor if it's bottle caps. Doesn't matter if it's buttons. You should also go see a doctor if it's buttons. But there are certain things that can trigger collectionism within human beings. Dead Cells does that for the gamer. For me, it's Tekken. I made world champion grade ranking in Tekken when Nero came out. Ask anyone. The only thing I've ever liked about Nero was Johnny Young Bosch. What's a Johnny Young Bosch? I'm glad you asked. Johnny Young Bosch is the voice actor for Nero and Zero. But the thing is that I hate Nero on almost every level as a character, except for his voice, his design, his attacks, all of it. I fucking hate it, but I love Johnny Young Bosch. And I sat there for hours upon hours fighting dozens or hundreds of people to get world championship ranking because I like Tekken, because I kept collecting cards. And unlike every other card game I've ever played, you don't have to spend money to get the card, and you can pinpoint exactly what card you fucking want. That one feature alone, it's not even revolutionary, but it's mind-blowingly altering for the concept of the collectible card game. Because for the first time, you can just go get the one card you want and you ain't got to go through a third party or play a random lottery chance purchase. When I heard that, I was happy. Also, they're going to add Zero to the game in like 4 days as a playable character. So, damn you, Capcom, or I guess Gung Ho. You keep finding ways to get my attention, because I don't think I've spent more than $8 on the game, and there's nothing wrong with that. Anyways, sorry, but that's actually very important. It's collectionism. So if I got an Xbox, all I play is first-person shooters. But I want to get out of that habit, because I noticed the world around me, or the gaming world around me and landscape, is much, much bigger than look at somebody, shoot that person. No one's around me, find someone to shoot. I can go into the indie title section. I can put in random words or look at top sellers or go by genre, and I can find things that maybe the trailer looks interesting to me, or maybe the concept looks interesting to me. But here's the thing. That doesn't just apply to you, Microsoft. PlayStation Nation. I see you over there hiding that knife behind your back while you shaking Microsoft's hand in the front. Same for you. You want nothing but RPGs, doesn't matter if they're first person, third person, 18th billionth person, that's fine. First person shooters, yeah, you got them in spades. Sometimes you get exclusive, sometimes Microsoft get exclusive, but they're still first person shooters. You want to expand your RPG into first person view game style Horizon? Dude, you got the VR system, which Microsoft has barely even scratched the surface of. You got VR games, and some of the best ones are exclusive to Sony. That whole motion control stuff, and you still got the indie market. So you got the same thing plus one. Switch people, Nintendo Nation. Or no, I use Nation for PlayStation. Nintendo Dojo. That'll work. Just don't make me do one for Microsoft. Nintendo Dojo. Yeah, you have a long outstanding history of playing very family-friendly games, but you claim that you want to broaden your horizons. Okay. Motherfucker, do it. You go take your ass on that virtual console store. You go pick up some old classics that you never touched back from the 2D era. Or you go look for some fun party games. Or Smash Bros. Or you just go into the independent market and you go and look up what genre is the exact opposite of almost everything Nintendo makes. Go get that shit, bro. Go get it. So, if you do that, you rarely miss out. Oh, this one first-person shooter is exclusive to this system. Okay, do first-person shooters only come out on that system? No. All right, well, there goes my incentive. Much like Star Wars, if I can get it somewhere else with less issues, why am I going to spend the extra cash? However, I will acknowledge there are system seller games. Games that people will only get the system for once that game shows up, or because they know the next game is going to show up on that system. Here's the thing about that, though. That determines what system you buy first, not second. So for me, hey, look, if I get a second system, I'm not buying a second system. I'm going to just get the shit on my PC. If I can get it on my PC, I'm going to be interested, but I'm probably not going to get it. And let me tell you right now, if I had the money to get a Forza Horizon 4 race compatible wheel, premium race compatible wheel, it can do automatic and manual, and I could go play Forza Horizon, and I could drive around in the real world, not just a race setting, in a McLaren, and I could customize and modify it, and it has real world or simulated real world effects on how it will work on the McLaren, I'm gonna do it. I don't plan on being rich. So what's the next best thing to getting a rich man's car? A simulation of a one-to-one simulation of that rich man's car. A McLaren. But Forza Horizon is only on the Xbox. I don't even think they have Forza Horizon on like PC as a PC game. It's only specifically on the Xbox. So I'm shit out of luck. But that's okay. Because I got 30 or 40 other games and about 8 other genres I mess with. So the curiosity is there, but it's not strong. Much like me in cinematic Star Wars movies. But I love me some Blade Runner.
You always gotta throw that back in.
Yes.
I was almost over it.
Yes. I have a gimmick for everybody who comes to the podcast. Star Wars is now yours. I christened the Lord of Star Wars. Hater, lover of salt, hater of me for not seeing them. But I do love me some Blade Runner, though. I love me some Blade Runner. And I love in Blade Runner. She can choke me any day. I don't like being choked, but if she does it, I won't complain. Did you see Blade Runner 2049?
I did. I liked it a lot.
Well, then there you go.
Great sequel.
Okay. That being said, you got any final comments, bro?
Not much. Just you can check out my website if you want to read some of my reviews. Like you said, I watch a lot of movies. I'm trying to get back into reviewing them. So you can check out tristanmayermedia.com where I put all my movie reviews and my TV reviews. And check out my thoughts on whatever's I'm watching at the time.
You know, if you want to throw shit on YouTube too, hey, let me know. Ain't no reason we can't synergize. This isn't a dictatorship, as I often say. This is democracy. So, you know, if you want to do other stuff or if you want to plug and link your shit, go right ahead, bro. All right, now let's get into the other people in this podcast. All right, now this is where you cut the recording.